Here I was, standing on the ledge of the building. What was I doing? Why was I there? After a couple months of not seeing my best friend, James Foster, he finally came to visit me. Both of our fathers served in a government agency with the codename E03. Years ago, they had accomplished a mission that was supposedly impossible. I don't know that much about it. Dad would never tell. But they were recognized nationally by the President of the United States. After the publicity, they were never seen again. Anyway, after a couple days of showing James around the city, it was time for him to leave. Unlike me, he was pursuing the same career path as his father. It was hard to think about him leaving. He was my brother. Only thing I had left. I asked him if I could go to the airport with him to give him a hand. I mean, I had nothing to do that night. But he refused. I said okay, and that's where I messed up. The cab was set up by a retired agent named Greg Warren. He always despised our fathers. It wasn't until recently that I figured out he was responsible for our father's disappearance. But now, he's responsible for James's disappearance. Only a couple days after James had left, I got a call saying his body was found in an alleyway. It was still within the city limits. Along with this, a breakup I had recently from a long-term relationship with a girl named Robin Miller, which she ended with me. I couldn't remember the last time I was in that much pain until that moment. It was the exact pain I felt. I was completely devastated. I couldn't take it anymore. Now here I was, on the ledge, looking down at the city below. I had thousands of thoughts running through my head of what I should do. How will this affect everybody in my life? Or that was in my life. All of a sudden, the moment was interrupted by a vibration in my left pocket. I checked my phone and it's Robin. She's calling me, desperately trying to keep me from jumping. I answered and listened. She's running through the city, trying to make it in time. She's screaming and crying, not knowing what to do. What felt like only a few moments later, I heard the door open to the roof, and that's when I jumped. That's when I did it. All of a sudden, I woke up a week before the day of my death. This was the day James was supposed to visit. I thought to myself, this is a dream. I am dead. I tried waking myself up out of this awful memory, trying to escape the guilt I had in my heart. But I realized there was no escaping. I had somehow gone back in time. This was real. I was given a second chance. I was given a jump restart. Now, to give you an idea of the timeline, the day that James arrived was Wednesday, September 6th, 2017. The day that James died was September 9th, 2017. The day I jumped was September 13th, 2017. I realized that if I had somehow traveled back in time, that'd have something to do with the building, the height, which part of the city I was in. I had to figure this out. I studied the building that I jumped from. I knew exactly how many feet it was from story to story and how high I jumped. I did all the math. The numbers came out exactly to the same amount of days it was from the day James was coming to visit and the day of my death. 7 days. My new objective was to kill Greg. I firstly went back and did almost the same thing, but I watched very closely, observing every moment of Greg Warren, the killer, and the surroundings of the cab. Now that I knew the surroundings, I was ready to make my move. I tried a few times. I was struggling coming up with reasons to keep James out of the car and have me in there instead. I worked out all the kinks. Now here I am, in the moment, rewriting history. I pointed the gun at his head and pulled the trigger. I immediately ran and ran and ran. I found myself back where I started. Here I was, on the ledge, looking down at the city below. I had a new set of thoughts running through my head. How did this affect everybody in my life? Suddenly, there was a buzzing in my front left pocket. I picked it up, and it was Robin. She said to me,
"Please, Christopher, don't."
It seemed like moments later, I heard the door open to the roof. I I stepped off. Robin ran into my arms. I told her, I did this for James.